We're halfway there.
Well, it finally happened. Gearbox and 2K Games have finally made Battleborn into a free-to-play game. Except for some reason they're not calling it free-to-play, they're calling it a free trial. What does that even mean? Usually when I see free trial, those exact words, what I'm expecting is something to be limited. For there to be a limited time. Like, I download the game, and it's like, I don't know, you get a week to try it out, and then you decide if you want to buy it. But no. The way they're doing free trial is, instead of calling it free-to-play, they're calling it a free trial. That's basically it. I mean, if you want to get really technical about it, what's happening here is that they're making the competitive multiplayer side of the game, which is honestly the only part of the game with any sort of longevity whatsoever, into a free-to-play experience much like League of Legends or Heroes of the Storm, where you have rotating heroes. But the other half of the game, the PvE side, where arguably most of the in-game progression with gear and stuff can be found, that stuff you're still required to pay for. Additionally, you can still choose to buy the game either via the Steam store or the in-game store, or I think you can even still go to GameStop or Best Buy and get it for $5. Even better if you can find a PC version. But once you do that, you have the base 25 heroes unlocked, you have all the PvE missions unlocked that aren't part of DLC, and I mean, you can still play with all the free-to-play players. This is something that I've been wanting Battleborn to do for quite a long time. I mean, hell, I have a number of videos talking about how Battleborn's already dead, and in each of those videos, I also mentioned that Battleborn either should have been free-to-play from the beginning, or should go free-to-play very soon. Because let's face it, once a game is already dead, and once its population is already diminished quite a lot, it's hard to come back. Evolve did a pretty good job. Like, if you go to their Steam charts, there's a huge bump when it went free-to-play, but that game never had any longevity anyway, just because of the way that the gameplay worked. Like, who's gonna play hide-and-seek for months of their life? Not me. Not me. It was a cool game, but it wasn't worth a lot of time, in my opinion. But I digress. This is not about Evolve. This is about Battleborn. So I've been hoping and wanting it to go free-to-play for a long time. But the way they're doing it is just all sorts of wrong. Come on, man! Randy Pitchford himself even tweeted out months ago, I think it was back in October, he said, there are irresponsible rumors going around about how Battleborn's going to go free-to-play. Let me be clear right now, Battleborn is never going free-to-play. I paraphrased a little bit, but here's the real tweet. I was just told a reckless story about Battleborn going free-to-play. That is false. There are no plans to convert Battleborn free-to-play. Randy Pitchford, you dirty, dirty liar. I don't care what you call this. You can call it a trial if you want to, but it's still free to play. It walks like a duck. It quacks like a duck. It's got some really abstract character art, but it's still a freaking duck, dude! You can even go to his Twitter right now and look at his recent replies, and if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see him defending the lack of free-to-play in this marketing. Quote, F2P characterization is inaccurate. And like I said, his reasoning for this is the fact that the PvE side of the game is not free. But come on, like I said, who cares about that side? The competitive multiplayer of any game is what's going to give it the longevity, except in the case of speedrunning, in most cases. I guess Left 4 Dead is kind of in this weird gray area, like, I don't know. But this game's not Left 4 Dead. It's not as fun as Left 4 Dead. In my opinion, the campaign gets old after the first, maybe second playthrough, which each playthrough is only like 4 hours. And maybe you can have a little bit more fun with the hard mode, but you're going to want to go in with a group of friends to challenge the hard mode. But even still, that's not going to last you a long time. The competitive multiplayer is what's going to keep people coming back. But whatever, semantics aside and Randy Pitchford's weird defensibility of the free-to-play characterization aside, that's not the only awful way that this is being done. The second awful way this is being done. And check this out. This was not hinted at. This was not teased. Not that I'm aware of. You would have thought that like IGN or Kotaku or Polygon or somebody would have known that this was coming and that this would have made the rounds, that this news would have made the rounds. Get people who were interested in Battleborn and maybe didn't want to spend the $30 or the $5 even, or the $60 when it first came out on a game that was effectively dead, It could have gotten them at least a little bit hyped to try it, put it on their calendar to download, or maybe even preload. And then they would have had a much more successful free-to-play launch than they had today. As I'm speaking now, the game today, once it went free-to-play, spiked up on Steam charts. It spiked up to a maximum concurrent players of 874. It didn't even break the 4th digit. Isn't that ridiculous? Even Evolve had this huge surge in activity on its first day of free-to-play. But Battleborn is just doing abysmally. It's already on its downswing. Granted, it came up from double-digit numbers, which, I mean, that's super dead. But now it's still not good enough, guys. It's still not good enough. But hey, it's still early in the game's free-to-play lifespan, and the news is still making its rounds, and I'm sure that a lot of you that are listening to this right now and watching this video, this is the first you're hearing about it. So, if you were interested in the game, now's a great time to go check it out. They've even said that they improved the new player experience by putting all the new players in their own matchmaking pool, which will definitely help against the game's pub stomp nature that it had, or that it saw early on in its lifespan. I think Battleborn's a really fun game. The multiplayer is unique, the single player is alright, the characters are unique and fun to play with, and it brings a fresh spin on MOBAs in general. I wish the game had never died. I wish the game had started as free-to-play, but Gearbox, if you're listening to this, you really need a new marketing department, or 2K, if you're listening to this, you really need a new marketing department. Calling it a free trial was a poor choice. Not hyping this up was a poor choice. I mean, all you needed was like a week in advance to let people know. But out of the blue like this, I don't see how this is going to help Battleborn in the long run. Because let's face it, unless the game manages to attract a significant audience in this first week or so of it being free to play, I don't see this going anywhere. There really needed to be much more of a resurgence than 800 players at the peak hour. But hey, like I said, it's a good game. If you've been wanting to play it or wanting to try it out, I urge you to go download it and play it for yourself. Like I said, it's a game that I really enjoy. I would love to see stay alive, but just based on this first day's performance and the way the marketing has gone, and the fact that it's called a free trial instead of free to play, and the connotations that the term trial brings along with it, I'm not optimistic. I'm not optimistic. Anyway, that's just my opinion, guys. I also just wanted to let you know that this was a thing, because, dang, they sure don't want to let people know. Anyway, let me know what you think of this development in the comment section below. And be sure to like the video if you liked it, dislike the video if you disliked it, and be sure to follow me on Twitter at ingeniousclown and hit that subscribe button for more awesome gaming content here in the future, and I will see you next time.